We're gonna get started. So, first things first, thank you for joining us today for Behind the Music with Charisma Collective. And go ahead and tell the people your name.
Hi everyone, I'm Danny. That's really it. I don't really go by any other name, but just
Just Danny. Well, thank you for coming on today, and it's a pleasure having you with us. My first question that I definitely want to get into is who is Danny?
um honestly, I do so many things. I sing. I'm currently going to college as for fashion design and hopefully minoring in graphic design. I also dance. I used to draw. I stopped doing that, but I need to get back into that to be honest. But yeah, I'm a lot of things, but I'm a creative at heart. That's like what I've always been comfortable doing. So yeah,
I can definitely see it because you give off such like a very creative aesthetic about you and like your vibe. So, I definitely can see how it's always been a part of you.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about like the origin story of like how you started creating music and what that journey's kind of been like for you?
Uh, I'm trying to think of what year it was because it was over the pandemic. I know that. It was either 2020 or 2021. Um, I was just stuck in the house like everyone else. And when you're stuck in the house, you do random stuff. And I've always wanted to do singing, but I feel like since I was at high school at the time, so I was so caught with, like worrying about like if I was gonna get an A in algebra, which I was terrible at, that I didn't have time to like focus on like the thing I actually wanted to do, which was singing. So I think around June or July, um, after I took like a music production class the year prior, I just sat down and made some music because I had such a rough year the year prior because my grandpa had actually passed away, and I didn't actually get to see him off. So I felt like the only reason that I could, like get all of my emotions out was like, creating. And I think it paid off because it's allowed me to be so much more like tuned in to myself. And I put out my first track, record, whatever you call it, like in July 2021. That was insane. And then I had an EP come like 3 days after that, and nobody knew in my high school. So I was like, hi, I have 3 songs. I hope y'all like them. So yeah, and here I am now making more music. So yeah.
I love that origin story. Would you say like your grandfather was like a really big support system for you and your music?
No, it wasn't really that. It was more so of just like, actually kind of, because he really was like one of the first people that inspired me to like have fun with things. Because I lived with my grandparents, and if anyone else has lived with their grandparents, you grow up around a lot of more like wisdom and just knowledge. So it just allowed me to be more free and more like centered in myself because my grandparents aren't serious at all. Like they do too many things at once, and now I only have one grandparent left, my grandma, and she's still to this day like I feel like I'm a carbon copy of her, but my grandpa was really the like solidifying factor of just like don't take things too serious, just have fun, like life goes on. Yeah.
I like that a lot. And it definitely like tells, like how your spirit and like how you conduct yourself. I was raised by my grandma, so I can
Oh,
definitely agree with
yeah.
that. And honestly, that kind of like brings me into my next question with you here. Um, just like after you're creating music, what are some of the most influences that have shaped your sound thus far?
Uh, to be honest, I don't really think about that as much because the thing about it is that I grew up around so much music that even like when I didn't know who the names were, I knew the sound. Like I grew up listening to a lot of R&B and pop. like the classic radio hits, like you would hear like Nicki Minaj or Ariana Grande or just all the other like greats, Mariah Carey. Like I would just hear all of them on the radio, and I feel like it would just like seep into me as I was creating. I do know there was this one song called Rock With You by
Yeah.
Janet Jackson, and that song I like revisited the other day because it popped up on my Twitter feed, and I was like, oh my God, like that's me. Because like I feel like that was like my number one song right next to Ring My Bell and Rock the Boat.
Oh,
So
classic.
yeah.
Those are classics.
Yeah, no, look, just because I'm born in 2003, I know my stuff. Because one thing about the good thing about living around older people like I did, like they show you so much nice old music that you're like, dang, they were popping off like this in like the 90s. Crazy. But
I
I was like so inspired by all that. So I feel like I would say like Aaliyah, Janet Jackson, and Michael Jackson. Like those are like my top three. Yeah.
Oh wow. So you definitely have like a really good music taste. Um, that's really cool because I love 90s R&B. I love older vibes. My mom used to play like Luther Vandross around the house when she was like cleaning, and I like loved his music. So I think classics are just, I don't know, they hit different than any of the music right now that I can say at least. It definitely hits a
Right.
little different.
Right. I know my Spotify Wrapped is so tired of me every year. It's like something completely I just don't care whenever they bring it out. I'm just like, look, whatever's there, it's there. So
Right. It is what it is at this point.
yeah.
And that brings me into my next question with you, actually. What was the story behind your most recent release, Icarus? And can you tell just us a little bit about that?
Mm. Um, See, I actively avoid telling people this in my real life when they ask about it, but I'm actually at a place where I'm like, I think I can talk about it, but I vaguely, because I don't want to get caught up. But I basically got out of a relationship early this year, January. And it wasn't the best. Um, yeah, and then I had a couple friendship breakups that did not bring the best out of my character, but also I feel like it was more of just like it just sent me into like a really depressive state, I would say. Um, Definitely had to go to therapy for that because me and my therapist are like this. I'm gonna tell her about this afterwards and be like, hey, I did my first interview. Anyways. Um, but yeah, it just sent me into like a pretty depressive state, and I actually wasn't prepared to make any new music. I had just taken off my two EPs off of streaming platforms. I took Sadage, I think that's how you pronounce it. French people, please do not come after me. Um, and I took what was the other one? Venus. And I love those ones, but I was like, I'm not feeling it. So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And since I had this other situations in my life that were like causing me to be pretty sad,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, well, I always pour back into my music when I'm sad, so I might as well just try again. And so it was actually the hardest project I've actually had to record recently. Um, I had a lot of writer's block, um, but I think I finished and like cut everything like I would say like around August. Yeah, August, because it was around my grandma's birthday. She's a Leo. But yeah, I finished everything and I was just like, you know what? That's done. And it was really hard to let go because like, you treat your music like your baby and you don't want to like, you don't want to like
You don't want to give
show
it to
people
the
it 'cause
world yet. Exactly.
yeah. So like there was this one track, I forgot which one it was. I think it was You Don't Know on Icarus, that track. I was taking forever to finish it and I was like, Daniel, like damn, just get it done. Like who's just like hurry up, And then I released it around September and I was like, whew, don't have to think about that again, relatively. But yeah, I'm really proud of it.
I like that. And did you like make the production as well, or like the beats behind that? Did you create that?
Yeah, some tracks I did produce. Other ones were ones that I would go on YouTube, and just mine. I would pay the least. There was Lyco Beats, there's Proud Brony, Heloways. Those groups of people I usually gravitate towards, but I had like very minimal production input on this one. Usually like around like Pluto times where I used to like produce on Pluto, like I produced Insane, I produced Killer, Rage. Um, that was like when I was in my bag, but you know, life gets so busy nowadays, so I'm just like, I need help because I have a hard time accepting help from other people because I'm an only child. So I
Okay,
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if anyone gets it, but like maybe it's like an only child syndrome. I get so used to just like doing shit on my own and be like,
right,
yeah. But I was like, Daniel, you're a college student. Let's be for real.
right.
So I was like, you know what? We're just gonna find these beats, pay for it, sing on it, you know, put it out. That's all we're gonna do and hope it sticks and hope we like it. But yeah.
And I think as you progress, like you'll find like a team of people that'll be like your go-to people that'll be able to help you, you know, along your journey and along your career. You know, because you can't do anything by yourself. And I've learned that in this music industry, like it definitely takes a team. So, you know, I definitely think you should find yourself a really good team, just like, you know, your designated engineer, your designated producer, whatever you got to do to get to the bag and get to where you want to be musically. And I think, you know, that'll also like enhance everything that you're doing. So I think you're on the right track with that for sure. You know, and that brings me to my next question with you. How would you describe your unique style? Because you have a very unique style. And what genre would you classify yourself in? Because, you know, some of the people are saying you're giving Frank Ocean. I don't know. Omar
Yeah.
vibes, but you know.
Oh my God. Dude, okay. I would just like to address. I love
Okay.
I would just like to address the people that say that I sound like The Weeknd, Frank Ocean, especially Giveon. That's like heavy. I love all of them and I appreciate it, but I'm just like, y'all, I don't know any other Danny, so let me be Danny. But uh I love them all though. But I my aesthetic honestly changes. Like you see this back here, like my closet doesn't reflect it at all. Like all of my black, all of my clothes are black. But genre wise, I would just say like pop, alternative pop R&B. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Tinashe, big inspiration. I saw her the day before my 18th birthday, and that inspired me so much. Because I was like, I'm gonna be up there, like in this place. I think it was the honestly I forgot. It was like some performance venue in Atlanta. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be here one day. Like, and I feel like her sound, especially apart from all the other artists I mentioned prior, like she was kind of like the bow on top for my genre. That made me like go into more like an alternative way. Cause I'm weird. Like I know I look dripped down and I look like all your Pinterest boards and all of like, you know, the guys that you see on the street, they were like, damn, where'd you get that outfit from? But like I look like the uncle at the cookout from ages 0 to like age 12. So we revamped, but we're still weird. So yeah, I would just say it's alternative pop R&B with like a touch of weirdness. But yeah.
I like that honestly because I mean honestly I don't feel like you should ever box yourself in, and it's okay to like just like be yourself and like be unique, and you already have such like a unique presence and like aura about you, and I think that also shows in your music right now. So, you know, run with that, be weird, never be afraid to try new things, and I think that like you're also like breaking barriers of what it means to be in like this new upcoming music genre in like era of music. So, you know, I'm excited to see like, you know, more fits because, you know, the fits got to be as fly as your soul.
Thank you. Listen. I would rather chew on a jean jacket and shit in my hands and clap twice than wear a bad outfit.
Oh my God.
Like it's serious, but thank you. I appreciate it.
I love that so much. You're definitely, I definitely have to get that in writing. But could you share just like some details about your latest release or any upcoming projects? Like, what can your fans expect next from you?
So right now, Fool, that track has been sitting really heavy with me because I feel like that's the heart of Icarus. Um, a lot of the lyrics are very like an inside joke towards me or like an inside knowledge towards me, but to the listener, it's kind of like it's of what you make of it, you know?
Hmm.
Like when I say like 222 dorm sign is fine, like nobody knows what that means. And then in me, I'm like, oh, that's my dorm number in my college that I used to live at. But um for like what's upcoming, I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I do know, but I would like to say that whatever aesthetic that you're getting from here, like very warm, brown, like fun, like that's like the next vibe of the EP God willing, I'm releasing next year. I don't want to say the name, but I would just like to say that water is a very important theme. That is all. But yeah, I feel like people that are happy listening to me should be very excited. I played it for my Jamaican mom. I played one of my tracks that I haven't put out for my Jamaican mom.
Hmm.
Caribbean mothers as a whole, blunt. They don't sugarcoat shit. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Because mind you, I grew up in a house of music. So like whenever I show anything to my parents, I'm like, look, they might trash me. And you know what? It's okay. I played it for my mom in the car and she was like, oh my, she was like bobbing her head and shit. I was like, okay, okay, we're here. She's like, Daniel, you're gonna release this? And I was like, I don't know. I played it for my cousins at Christmas. They were like, Daniel, this is what you've been doing for the past 8 years and we ain't seen you. And I was like, yeah, yes, cousin. Like, I feel, and I showed it to my friends too. And I feel like the general consensus is like, I feel, and other people feel that this is like the best music that I've ever made in like my entire creative career. And I also feel like personally, um, all of my personality has finally been like showcased in this one. So
Mhm.
I'm just excited for what's to come. So people should be excited. Yes.
I'm happy for you, and when you say like you feel like this is the best music you've ever made, I definitely feel like I would say that your music is only going to be elevated as you continue to create as an artist. So I
Yeah.
think you should never focus on if it's your best music you've ever made, because maybe you haven't even made your best yet. And that's the
I
craziest part, because you're always going to have so many ideas and infinite ideas. And I know, just being a creator, like something could spark at any moment and then boom, like that's your best song. That's the one, like that's the one banger that everybody's gravitating towards. So, when you think of your best, think of the future, because also like, you're going to continue to get even better and work on your craft. So, that definitely brings me to my next question with you. Um, what's one piece of advice you would give to any artists right now looking to get into the industry, or just starting to make music?
um honestly just do it. And that sounds like I feel like if someone's gonna hear me right now and hear me say just do it, they're gonna be like, wow, thanks so much. That helped so much. But like honestly, like just do it. Like get in your room, right? Listen to music that you like, find your inspiration, study people. It's very important to study the people that came before you because that's how you make things better. Um, but just find real unique sound and don't be afraid to just like experience life. I feel like a lot of nowadays, like everything is just like you put it out and it burns out. But like you need to like just focus on your life and experience things because that's where the creativity comes from. Like one of the reasons why I didn't feel so comfortable in like the beginning parts of making Icarus is because like I was like so focused on like what song can I make now? What song can I make now? Instead of just like focusing on the experiences I had and I was going to have, and then just like, write it about it or create about it later. Like, you know, like not everything needs to be like such a instant, like, you know, oh my God, I just got like the best boba in my life. Let me go write about it. Like, no, like, how does the boba make you feel? Like, you
Mm.
know, have the jelly pearls sunken into your stomach yet before you've hit the pen on the paper? Sorry, that sounds so unserious.
No, I love it. I love the
Yeah.
analogy.
But yeah, like no, seriously, like really just like experience stuff. The creativity will come after. So like don't think about it too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think a lot of times, like, we get in our heads and we think that, something's supposed to be like the greatest ever song. Like, you go sit down to write something, and it may not be that, like, but I think it could turn into something beautiful as you continue to go. So I think sometimes we get too caught up in making something perfect, like on the first try. So I think it's good that you're giving people knowledge of not to do that, not to get in their heads
Yeah.
about their writing, their process and, what works for them.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so just kind of moving forward, how do you approach the songwriting process? Do you have a specific method that works for you, or does it kind of just like vary from song to song to song?
Um, Honestly, I would just say it varies. Like, sometimes, what I do is that I go on YouTube and I'll just like type in like a certain genre, or I'll go into like my um software and just like put on a random loop and just let it play and just like sit with it. Other times, I'll just like what I do sometimes is that I literally just like write out a poem and then like I'll just like look for beats and then I'll like just like tweak the poem to the beat. Like to be honest, like when I wrote Fool, that was literally just like word vomit. I also do that also. Like I just like listen to the beat and I just like mumble some random stuff into the mic and I'm like, yeah, that works. Or, you know, like I just don't take it too seriously. I don't know. I feel like the way that I create is just like so unhinged and so chaotic that like describing it to someone, like you'd have to see me do it. But
Yeah. Like, we'd
I
have to
def
physically be in the studio with you in order
yeah,
for us to get this whole picture that you're trying to create.
yeah. And honestly, the best time when I do it is like pitch dark pajamas, contacts taken out, hair is a mess. Like sometimes I just need to be messy, you know, like the absence of just like not being perfect really helps with creating.
Hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but like when I'm not done up, it helps me make better music, you know?
I feel
But
like when you're in your comfortable space, like when you're in your own like element and vibe, I feel that way. I feel like I've written like one of my best songs just being on the couch in my PJs, just like laying down and having a thought in my head. And that was like literally like one of the best songs that I've written in a long time. So I can agree. I can agree with that one.
yeah, that's how it be sometimes.
Definitely. Are there any reoccurring themes or, messages in your lyrics that you feel are particularly important to your music that you can like point out right now, or anything like you remember just off the album, any specific lyric?
Um, there was this one on Gotta Go. Um, oh my God, I forgot the lyric. See, the thing about me is that when I make my music, I don't know if you do this, but like I make it and then I never listen to it again. But um don't want it anymore. Oh, don't want it any more than I want myself. And I feel like that's like the perfect way that like my music is. Like it's very soft yet edgy. Like, but like also like very self-affirming at the same time and then vulnerable. Like I notice a lot of the times when I make music, like I'm very like introspective with my music. A lot of my music is pretty introspective and emotional. I love making atmospheres with my music. Like if I make a song and it doesn't feel like if someone could listen to it and then not be put in my shoes, like if they aren't standing in my shoes when listening to the song, then I haven't done it right. You know, like I remember my music teacher in high school when I made my first song, 333, which I never, it's on my SoundCloud somewhere, but he was like, you know, you barely put any lyrics to this, but you make such a great atmosphere, like, you know, and I was like, oh, thank you. Because I don't know. It's like that's what I want to do. Like, you know, I want people to like forget about the reality for a minute and just like look through my eyes in their own way. Not my way, but like, you know, their own way. So yeah, I feel like that's a thing that's been happening for a while with my music.
I love that. I like the atmosphere part because I can definitely see that and hear that when I listen to your music. It does give off an atmosphere now, that you say that and bring that up. And I think that's a great way to portray, what you're trying to convey as well. So, you do a really good job of that, Danny. So keep that up. I can't wait to hear more atmosphere vibes from you and, that aesthetic. So I'm excited. Can you give us like a little bit of background? Like, have you performed lately? Like, are you gonna have any upcoming performances we can, you can tell us about when what's going on there?
Not yet. Next year. So like next week. But like next year, sometime soon. It's actually like one of my New Year's resolution because I actually have a lot of anxiety, which is ironic considering the way that my personality is, um, but like I actually was like so shy growing up because I got bullied a lot for like 8 years. But nowadays, like since I've been like getting more into myself and just been reminding of like what really matters most, like performing is like definitely like number one thing I'm gonna do for like the upcoming like projects. And just even with this one too, like I really want to perform Gotta Go. I really want to perform Icarus, that title track. I do this thing where like sometimes I put my songs into like a slow and reverb, but I turn the slow off and I push the reverb all the way up so it sounds like I'm in an arena. And I like just like pretend that I'm like singing it out. But yeah, definitely one of my goals next year.
I could see that for you. Definitely gonna have to get you out here to Arizona, get you on a locals only lineup. That would be crazy. That
Seriously, it's hot there too. Oh my God.
It is hot, but it is nice right now. It's cold right now. So we may have to get you out here in like, the winter time or something. But that would be really cool to see, because I think performing really gives you like that intimacy with the audience and you get to really connect with your listeners. So I can't wait to see, your performance skills and like what you do on stage. I know that's going to be exciting. So definitely excited for you for next year. How do you feel your music has evolved, since you started making music up until now?
Um, that's actually one of like the recent reasons that this next project feels so good because um Pluto definitely felt sad, obviously. Um, and then if we're talking about like the ones that took off, Sadage and Venus, that was more fun but still sad. Like, you know those songs they listen to and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best, happiest, fun beat ever." But then you look at the lyrics and you're like, "Damn, you were depressed in the booth, huh?" But and then Icarus also sad. But another goal that I really set myself out to with this music nowadays that I'm making is just be happy, have fun. Like honestly, if I'm putting it bluntly, the goal right now is to make music that people can shake their ass to in the club.
I feel
Like, like I want people to like really have a good time with the next couple stuff I'm putting out. So yeah, that's the goal. I feel like I've evolved to be happier, really. Just like not care too much. Be happy. There's life is really too short for me not to be happy. So
I
yeah.
love that. So it's like we're gonna get to hear some versatility on this next project, is what you're telling us.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, sorry. I was gonna do that thing where I was like, oh my God, don't tell them. But yes, yes.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I'm so ready to hear the versatility. And I think just like this is the perfect time for you to be getting into music. And, this brings me to my last question for you before we get out of here, Danny. What is next for you? What, like, music wise, just life wise, relationship wise, whatever you think, what is next for you?
Definitely happy relationships. Relationships where I'm not afraid to talk my shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I really had a hard time talking my shit until this year, and I kind of left a lot of people like a little bit shaken up. But music wise, which how it seeps into it. Really just having more fun. Um, Creative wise, there's so much stuff coming that no one knows this really just looking off of me. I guess it's because of like even my friend groups. Like I act really silly all the time, but I have grown up with very hardworking parents,
Mm.
Caribbean parents also. And one thing about I've known in our culture is that we work hard even with like the smallest of things. So a lot of hardworking things are going on behind the scenes, which I wish I could share, but I will not now because I like to keep things, you know, that thing where like if you I have like the superstition that we're like if I say things
Don't
out,
count your eggs before they hatch. Like it's okay.
yeah, like I don't want to like give too much away because I'm so protective. So yeah, but good things are coming.
I love that for you. And I think just with today and everything you shared with your listeners, everything you share with me, it's a bright future. And I definitely think there's going to be a bright 2024 for you. And can you tell our listeners where they can find you on all social media and yeah, where they can find your music?
Yeah, so you can find me on all streaming platforms, Spotify, sorry, I forgot, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Deezer, Tidal, whatever you listen really. Like, I'm not discriminatory where I put out my music, under Danny, that's all caps DAN apostrophe I. A lot of people pronounce it deny. No, I am not. Very accepting, but and then social media is just Danny with OIIO. I really, you know that trend where like people would do like the OIO on the end of their accounts names?
Oh, like
Like,
yeah, like back in the day.
yeah, that's like one of my biggest regrets in terms of like branding, but like I'm sticking with it because, we're here. But I was like, why did I do that? Because it just looks weird. But hey, it's whatever. I don't really care that much. But
I
that's
mean,
where you can.
never be afraid to rebrand. Never be afraid to own what you did.
No, no, look, I looked up Danny, like my own name, and like my goal is when I have enough money, I'm gonna ask that person if I can buy it out because they can't be too attached to that name. Like you can, you'll be fine. But yeah, that's really where you can find me.
Well, you guys, this has been a pleasure today. And again, we have Danny in the building with Charisma Collective behind the music, and we are out.
Thank you. Bye.